I'm Dante Morrison, and welcome to the Donta Show. What's up, everybody? What it do? What it do? What it do? We are back. It's Tuesday, and we are almost at the last show of the week. This is our hump day. Mondays are beginning, Tuesdays are hump, Wednesdays are closeout, but we are glad to have y'all here. What's up, Danny? Glad you're here, man. Hey, Daryl, glad you're here, glad you're here, glad you're here. So, invite your friends, your family, your cousins, your loved ones on into the Donta Show. We got a phenomenal show lined up on tonight. We're going to have a good conversation, a good topic, especially for you couples. So if you're in a relationship, get your other half, get some pen, get a pen, get some paper, and sit down and tune in for tonight's conversation. What's up, Ahmad? What's up, Ahmad Alexander or Alexander Ahmad? It can go both ways. You got a by name. It goes both ways.
Right, two first names.
Right, for sure. All right, so Dana, how you doing, man? Before I get into my talk, how you doing?
Hey, you know what? You can't. I'll be trying to come online quietly and secretly, but then when you say my name, it just is. I have you on speaker, so it goes out through the room, and they know Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 8:00 to come up to the window and stand out there and try to get a peek in. I got to even close the blinds a little bit, but I'm doing good other than that.
I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm glad to hear that. Hey, so before we start the show, normally we have the Dana drop, but Dana so gracefully gave me the opportunity to have his 5 minutes. So with the time that Dana used for the drop, I want to just have a conversation. So on yesterday, someone very close to me passed away. She succumbed to COVID. And I found out literally the last 60 seconds of yesterday's show. As I was wrapping the show up, Eddie came in the room and he looked at me and I saw in his eyes something was wrong. And then he mouthed it to me. And it took my breath away. It took my breath away because for many reasons. One, because Ariel was bad. Man, I can't even find the words to say, how beautiful a person Ariel was. Ariel, I have known Ariel for almost 20 some odd years. And she I ain't gonna say she watched me grow up because I'm older, but she was so instrumental in so many aspects of my life. And she imparted so much love and wisdom and encouragement and lit the fire of advocacy under me. And whenever you hear of someone passing, you sit and wonder, could I have said more? Could I have done more? Should I have been there? But we all have to sometimes sit back and realize I did what I could do and I did what needed to be done, and everything operated in accordance to God. I have peace because I know that Ariel knew the Lord. I know that Ariel loved the Lord, and we would talk about the Lord. We would argue about the Lord. We would sing and all kind of stuff. And when it came to Ariel, to know her is to love her, and she lived in her truth 100%. But what angered me was the fact of how I am noticing this year how selfish society is. We all are being impacted by COVID. We're all being impacted by this pandemic. We're all being affected by it in one way or another. But I sit back and I think about how much of this could have been avoided had we all just stayed inside. Had we all just worn a mask. And yes, there was a season when people was like, I blame Trump. Okay, fine. We went through that season. Then there was a season, I blame Dr. Fauci. Okay, we had that season. Then there was a season of, I blame the governor. Why they opened the stuff back up? Okay, fine. We had that season. But at what point are we going to start blaming mankind? Blaming humanity, blaming each other? When we going to start blaming? Because just because the bar is open does not mean you have to go. You know, just because the restaurant is open does not mean you have to go. Just because your friend says, I'm throwing a holiday party and I want y'all to come dressed to the nines, it's going to be about 50 folks here, you know, F COVID, you're going to be all right, does not mean you have to go. So we can sit back and say, if Trump would have only, if the CDC would have only, you know, if Dr. Fauci would have only, but how about if you would have only stayed home? If you would have only stayed home. You know, people bitched because they couldn't go to the beach for the 4th of July. And how dare they take my civil rights away? How dare they tell me that I have to wear this mask? How dare they tell me I can't go out to eat? How dare they? There is a freaking pandemic, an airborne virus running rampant around the globe. Not in LA, not in New York, not only in Italy. Globally, there is an airborne virus circulating. If that's not enough to make you say, hey, maybe I should stay in the house. Maybe I should sit down. If that was not enough, you know, I don't know what it's going to take. Then you got everybody talking about, and now they got this vaccine. How they get a vaccine so fast? I'm not taking no vaccine. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Imagine this. Imagine this. If we would have sat in the house from March until, let's say, May, we probably wouldn't need a vaccine because we would have did so much work in lowering the rate of infection. We wouldn't be where we are right now. I talked to a friend who works in who's an essential worker, works in the hospital. She said the ICU is now doubled up with people. The ICU is doubled up. I am literally watching essential workers age in front of me because of what they are seeing, what they're exposed to. Can you imagine the amount of death that they are being exposed to? Can you imagine the amount of pain and sickness? Never mind all the other illnesses that are still occurring. People are still getting cancer. People still got diabetes. People still have HIV. People are still getting pregnant and having to give birth. You know, hospitals are for sick people, and there are a lot more sicknesses outside of COVID. So when I heard of Ariel's passing, and keep in mind, Ariel's grandmother passed away 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, her grandmother, yesterday, her. I cannot put into words what her family must be feeling right now. But I'm angry at us, because we could not have the wherewithal to sit our asses down inside the house for a good month and a half. We couldn't do that. We just couldn't do that. We had to go and floss. We had to pull on the red bottoms and go be seen. We had to go do that. And for what? For what? So, Ariel, you are there, sis. You are there. You are at peace. You are surrounded by love and light. You are home. You are home. And for that, I give God the glory. For that, I am grateful, because I am still down here with all of these others that can really give a damn about COVID, can give a damn about human life, can give a damn about wearing a mask, they just can give a damn. They can give a damn, and they're living a very selfish existence. But sis, you're home. You're at peace. And we are down here still having to deal with each other. And it's all in our power. We have the power to change all of this. We have the power. Black, white, brown, gay, straight, transgender, other, it doesn't matter. We have the power as humans, red blood oozing through our body, humans, to change the trajectory of this pandemic by just sitting our ass down. Period. But I had to start this show off letting people know that I am annoyed. I am irritated. I do a show to talk about COVID. I did this when me and Dana started the show in March. It was all about COVID. We brought on talks about the vaccine. I don't care if you take it, don't take it, but you got the knowledge. We're trying our part to make sure you have what you need to make the right decision. Ariel's death did not have to happen. It did not have to happen. Her grandmother's death did not have to happen. The hundreds of thousands of people who have died, it did not have to happen. But you had to go to the beach. You had to get to the mall. You had to go to your friend's cocktail party. You had to go to happy hour after work. You had to do all of that. You just had to do that, huh? Yep. So, society, it's up to us. So stop blaming Trump. Stop blaming Dr. Fauci. Stop blaming the CDC. Stop blaming people and blame your damn self. Look in the mirror and say, what could I have done differently? What am I doing? Am I being selfish? Blame yourself. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Ariel, I speak your name. Ariel Carrington, I speak your name. My sister, my friend, my loved one, thank you for being so instrumental in my life. Thank you for putting a fire in me to do the work. Thank you for showing me what love is. And as we approach Christmas, your birthday, I'm going to celebrate you. I'm going to love on you. I'm going to say your name. I'm going to say your name. Now, if y'all want to still go out there and run to the mall and go do this and go do that, go do it. But me and my house will be at home. And if anybody follows Thais, put on 3, 4, 5 masks. Do what you got to do to be safe, because enough is enough. And that is the Donta drop. Boom. Boom. Whew. Man, you're muted, Dana. So you're so caught up, you're muted.
I said that was well said.
Thanks, man. I'm burnt. I'm so burnt with people. I'm so burnt with people and the excuses. Pointing fingers. If they hadn't, I don't give a damn. What stay home. Stay home. Period. I love the movies. I love going to the movies. I love movie theater popcorn. I have not had a large bucket of butter popcorn since February. I tried to make it at home. It don't taste the same. I tried to have it.
It don't taste the same at all.
I love roller coasters. I would have been at Six Flags this summer. I didn't go. It's stuff that I love to do, but I'm like, I'll do it next year. It ain't that big. It ain't going nowhere.
Right.
So if you knew Ariel, that we lost a trooper, we lost a ride or die. Keep Thais in your prayers. They were besties. I mean, they were besties. They got stories and history. Keep Thais in your prayers. Keep Ariel's family in your prayers. It's just time to show some love. To spread love. It's really time. It's really just time. So,
yeah.
All right, y'all. So let's get into tonight's show. So tonight's show is going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one because it's going to fall into all this. It's talking about mental health. And if y'all remember, my frat brother Frederick came on, earlier this year, I believe, and talked about his bout with mental health issues and getting on the medications and how he was kind of mistreated by, therapists, and he just could not could not navigate his way through it. He just couldn't do that. But now he's bringing his fiance on, and she's going to give another point of view from the one who is dealing with someone who has mental health issues. So if anybody on the thread has ever dated somebody or been married to somebody that was really struggling with their mental health, and you was like, what do I do?
Right.
And oftentimes men are slow to admit that we're dealing with some mental health problems. We're slow to admit that we're depressed, that we have PTSD, that we have anxiety, that we still have, daddy issues. We're slow to admit all of that. So women, this may be a good conversation for you if you're dealing with your partner and he wants to open up to you, but he doesn't know if you can handle it. You're going to get some tips on how to handle it. And fellas, my brother is going to come on here and talk to us about the importance of making sure that we're doing what we got to do. that we're doing what we gotta do. All right. So before we get started, I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to see this. So if you have friends that don't have Facebook, they can watch the Donta Show on YouTube. All right. Go to youtube.com/Donta Morrison. Like and subscribe. Text your friends right now and say, child, get over to YouTube and follow Donta Morrison and check out the Donta Show on tonight. It's going to be a very important, powerful, life-changing conversation. All right. So here we go, y'all. Y'all ready? I'm amped. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. So welcome back to the Donta Show. My frat brother, Frederick McDuffy, and his fiance, the beautiful Jocelynn. When I say y'all are posed and picture ready,
hey, it looked like they was like, oh shit, the camera's on. Okay, cool.
Yeah. You love me, girl, right? You love me, right?
You love me, right?
I am not mad. That camera came on and y'all teeth illuminated.
Right. Oh shit.
Hey, welcome to the Donta Show. Hey, I'm excited for this conversation because I really believe that if more couples learn how to communicate and navigate through certain trials and tribulations, we'd see healthier outcomes. So I'm excited for this. So Frederick, you're my frat brother. You're my lock. And you've been on the show before. So I trust you, and I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna let you start navigating this conversation. Jocelynn, you my new sis. Hey. I'm looking forward to see your input. So where do you want to start with this?
Well, first of all, thank y'all for having us on the show. It's an honor and a privilege. And also, we want to extend our deepest condolences for the loss of your friend that you started the show off with.
Thank you.
With that being said, I'd like to start with when I left off, it was kind of talking about admitting and opening up and getting to share my story about dealing with behavioral health issues and the medications that I was on. So that led me down a path to where I started doing my research, doing more research on the different medications. And that's when I really came to figure out that I was kind of addicted to these prescription medications. For instance, I was on Adderall and Prozac at the same time, and that combination became very counterproductive for me and led me to become an alcoholic. I started drinking a whole lot more and more because of the medication. And I went to my therapist and I told him, I said, hey, I think this medication is making me drink. And my psychiatrist and the therapist both got together and said, no, you need to enroll into substance use disorder. You need to go self-enroll. I'm like, it's the medicine though. I'm like, no, you that's just a simple PTSD. So they convinced me to go self-enroll into that program. And when I did that, that's when they offered me the opportunity to go to inpatient treatment at Laurel Ridge. That was in June of this year. And I was all set to go. But then I said, what am I gonna do when I first get there? And they said, you do a week of detox where you're not on any medications and you do a detox. I said, okay. So I said, I'm leaving in like 10 days. I just do a self-detox at home, see if I can just do it myself because I don't believe I'm an alcoholic. I believe it's the medication. So I stopped taking all the medication for 7 days. And I felt like, okay, I don't have an urge to drink, so I'm not going to inpatient treatment. So I did.
What made you think that the medication made you an alcoholic? That's interesting to me. I never really heard that before. How'd you get a correlation between the two?
Because my therapist told me that sometimes I should take a medication holiday. So some weekends, if I don't feel like I need it or I have to perform, to not take the medications. And so on some weekends, I wouldn't take it. And when I wouldn't take it, I wouldn't feel that urge to drink. I was on 50 milligrams of Adderall. I'd take 30 in the morning and then 20 at noon. When I took the 20 at noon, I'd take the Prozac along with that. And that's when the urge would kick in around 1500 every day. And so my appetite left as well. So now I'm drinking and I'm not eating, which is, of course, not really good.
Right.
That's when I started to think it was. So I didn't end up going to Laurel Ridge in July like I was supposed to, because I said, nah, I told him no, I don't need it. I don't have an issue because I just stopped taking all the medications. So keep in mind, at this point, I'm like an addict, right? Because I've been on this Adderall, which is a Schedule II drug, the same drug schedule as cocaine, right? So I had been on this for like 5 years, and I just quit. So it had some adverse effects, and which led me spiraling down into a path that I didn't want to go in, which led me to have suicidal ideations shortly after my birthday in September. And that's when I went back to behavioral health, and I told him, I said, I think it's time for some inpatient treatment, because my daughters had moved out. I'm not co-located with my fiance, so I was in the house by myself every day, just drinking as a method to cope with all my issues, because I wasn't taking any medication. So that's when I went ahead and self-enrolled again into the substance use disorder center, and finally went to inpatient treatment in San Antonio at Laurel Ridge.
At any point, did your daughters feel that something was wrong with their dad when they were living with you?
Yes, and my daughter Angela, who's upstairs, who would be great to come comment on this, but she's like watching the kids. But she would always say, "Dad, why you drinking? You don't need that." Like they saw my behavior, and that's one of the things that I'm most ashamed of, was being drunk in front of my daughters, even though they're, like they were like 19, 18 and 17 at the time, but just being like drunk all the time, and I like drink till I passed out. So just being drunk in front of my daughters is something I really regret, and something that I'm really ashamed of. But they understand, because they've seen me through the whole process, so they understand why I was that way for a little while. But yes, they knew something was wrong, but it wasn't. They didn't understand to the severity of it.
And that was going to be my question. Your daughters. What about your family? Did your family know what was going on? Did you have any support from your family, siblings, parents, what have you?
Oh yes, like everyone supports me, but you know how it is when people ask,
"Oh yeah,
hey, you good? Yeah, man, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
good.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so like when I came back from rehab, people was like, oh man, I should have checked on you. I said, well, if you would have checked on me, I would have said I'm good. So I mean, it wouldn't be having a phone call and saying, hey man, I just called and check on you. Oh yeah, man, I'm good. I would have laughed and joked with you, and we got the phone, and you would have thought everything was good, because I'm always on social media. I'm always posting memes, always joking.
Yeah, you a clown on social media.
So it's hard for like people to take you seriously when you say you really have issues, when you joke and laugh all the time.
And I think that's it. That's an important thing to share. And it's not just men, it's people in general. Oftentimes when you ask, so hey, I'm just calling to see how you doing. Oh, I'm good. And we'll sit and pray, Lord, please send somebody to check on me. Lord, please, please, please. And then God sends somebody. And what do we say? Oh, I'm good. Thanks for calling, though. And that was our opportunity to really get that help that we needed. And I guess it has to do with pride, upbringing of Black folks. Don't say nothing's wrong with you. Don't let folks in your business. What happens in our house stays in our house. It's all systemic. But do you regret not taking those opportunities to vent to those people who were checking on you?
I don't think so. Not really, because sometimes when you vent to people who don't really understand, like my brother's like, oh man, we here for you, brother. I'm like, well, like, you're not in the military. You haven't went to combat. You haven't dealt with a whole lot of like the trauma, like the things I'm talking about. So it's certain people you can vent to. Right. Not saying that they can't, that everybody can relate to trauma, but like that specific type of trauma, right? And a lot of it has to do with the stigma, which is what I'm gonna get into next, about how, being a senior leader, and I was in my dream job that I worked my whole career for, and I had to go to my command and ask them to take me out of that position, because I was self-aware enough to know that my performance was slipping, even though I covered it up well, and nobody, suspected what was going on. But I was literally working late in my office, people thinking, oh, first sergeant's always at work. No, I was at work, so I wouldn't go home and drink. I stay in my office till like 8 o'clock at night, so that by the time I get home, I can just take a shower and go to bed. So there was no time to sit there and drink.
Did you feel alone?
I felt, yes, at that point, because nobody was at the house. My daughters had moved out.
But I mean, just going through this whole experience, I mean, even when your daughters were there, going through this by yourself, Jocelynn wasn't nearby. You just trying to navigate all this anguish by yourself. How taxing was that for you?
It was very taxing because it's like you got to spread yourself kind of thin. You have to try to maintain the long distance relationship. You got to maintain, the relationships with people at work. You got to maintain relationships with your daughters at home. And then all the friends you have, right? Then the social media presence, which is kind of like the escape. And then, so it's kind of like you're trying to, you're putting yourself in so many different so different places. And then all of a sudden it's like, what do I have left besides this bottle? And that's what I'm going through.
Wow. Jocelynn, I blame you. It's your fault. You should have been closer. Oh, long distance. You should have been right there, sitting like you sitting right now, Jocelynn. This is all you. The root of the problem is Jocelynn.
I'm part of the solution.
Jocelynn, you want to jump in right now? You want to jump in and add some pieces?
It's gonna flow. I come in when I'm ready. When he opens up to that part.
Okay. All right. Just making sure because you
want to jump around. We get it all.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, bro. We listening. We got you. You got our ears.
Yep.
Yeah. So the stigma. I just want to touch on the stigma. The stigma is real, right? So people say, you command and people things of that nature. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I just want to use my situation as an example, right? So nothing negative. Never received a negative account statement. Got my evaluation says I'm still standard, highly qualified. Everything's great. But I went to my command 3 times asking them to, hey, can you replace me because I need to take care of myself, focus on myself because, keep in mind, I'm going through all this, but I still got all these soldiers to take care of. I still got all this. I still got to pour myself into this job because, you dealing with people's soldiers' careers, right? So I was telling them like, hey, I'm having surgeries. I'm doing this and this. I need to go get help. The real reason why I didn't go to Lower Ridge, why I just stopped the medication, said it's because I didn't want to leave my job again and be away from the soldiers. Like I got a job to do. Like this is my dream job I worked so hard for. So when I figured out that, hey, I'm really no good to anybody if I'm not good, right? And so finally they said, hey, I got a call on a Thursday, and the sergeant major was like, hey, we're doing your change of responsibility on Tuesday of next week. And I'm like, wow, like that's very abrupt. Like I've been asking out. I've been talking about this for like 8 months. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, all of a sudden, because usually when a first sergeant gets ready to switch out, you have a lot of time, so you can have a farewell them, give them their color gifts and all this stuff. I had 5 days over a 4-day weekend.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So then I leave and then hey, you change command, you change responsibility at 10 o'clock. At 1300, you go see the brigade sergeant major to see where he's gonna put you. And so it was kind of like, wow. But the sergeant major, he did talk to me and said, hey, it's nothing negative, I'm just like, okay. I just didn't understand why it was, so abrupt. Like I had been in the unit for 3 years. I did a year and a half as the SPO NCOIC, and I did a year and a half as the first sergeant. So I'm like, that's 3 years I've poured into this unit. And if you look around the unit and you look at everything that I was instrumental in doing, like a lot of the structure and a lot of stuff we had put up is like my footprint, my handprints are all around the footprint. You know what I'm saying? Right. I figured like, why am I getting kind of like thrown out? Is it because I admitted that I have mental health, behavioral health issues? I haven't messed anybody over. I haven't done anything negative. I'm just trying to say, hey, look, you need to put somebody else in here because I need to go take care of myself. So I swapped out. And now keep in mind, I'm still within the brigade. So they had a hail and farewell, but I didn't get invited back to be farewell.
Wow.
I've seen them pull people off of terminal leave with a whole full beard. Like they've been gone for like 2 months. Hey, come back and get your gift, Right. And just like, I just got tossed out. And I was just like, wow. And the brigade commander and sergeant major didn't even come to the change of responsibility.
So you felt dismissed, basically.
Yes. Like institutional betrayal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, why did I get treated like this? I mean, I didn't ask for any, I'm not asking for any special treatment, any preferential treatment. I just want what everybody else get, you know.
Do you think
Right.
What I've seen everybody else get what was customary, was tradition for what everybody else gets. And I'm just wondering, like, why didn't I get that? You know, I didn't do anything bad. I actually admit it, you know. I actually, you know, had the courage, like everybody told me, I had the courage to admit, you know, even
Right.
in the face of,
Help. Exactly.
that I needed help. And this is what happens. And I said, that's why there is a stigma. That's why people don't want to come admit anything, because you do get treated differently. And I can say that because I got treated differently. This is not something I'm just talking about. Like, this is my actual experience.
Right.
That
Right.
I just went through back in August. So.
And that is so true. I'm sorry, Danny. Go ahead. You was gonna say something?
Well, I was gonna say, do you think your color played a role in that? And then, you know, how they stigmatized you and placed you off to the side or whatever. If you would have came in there and went crazy, then it would have been a different story too. Then they would have threw you out, dishonorable discharge, whatever the case may be. And then you would have been like, you know, well, I've been trying to tell you all along, you know, yada yada. And they still, at the end of the day, you're still getting the short end of the stick. But do you think that your color had a lot to do with it as well, being African American?
I don't know if it was I don't think it was my color so much as the reason. I think it had more to do with the behavioral health, because it's an invisible wound, and if people can't see you actually hurting, then it's hard for them to just grasp the concept. They don't know that they can't judge the severity of it. If I had 2 missing legs, they can look at me and say, okay, well, you're a double amputee. Now I feel sorry for you. I can see that you're limited in some type of way. But if you can't see that, then it's just hard for some people to just grasp it. And
well, yeah, that's what I was getting to. You know what I'm saying? If somebody was white and you can't see how crazy they are, then they just come in there and go crazy one day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, Full Metal Jacket. You feel me? So it's like stuff like that.
I think that was how you said an invisible wound. I think that's really deep. You know, it's a lot of folks walking around right now with these invisible wounds, but because you were still so instrumental in the success of what you were doing at work.
Exactly.
So you were not a deficit. You know, you were still providing good service. You were still leading. You were still accomplishing. You were still doing this, but you admitted, you know, yo, I'm having some challenges. I need some help. Same thing happens out on the streets, out on this side. If we go and admit, like, yo, you know, I'm not in a good headspace, but your work is great, and you'll push through. You know, go back to your cubicle and just keep going. You know, it'll pass over. Take a nap, something like that. But I think what you said was that invisible wound part that we're just not willing to recognize when someone admits, you know, what they're going through, because we can't see it, so it must not be there.
Right.
You know, and were you trying to pull a stunt? Were you trying to get some time off? You know, you're trying to get an easy vacation. You know, what's really going on? Because I don't see nothing wrong with you. But because it sounds like you were good at camouflaging all of this because you were navigating your fatherhood, you know, your relationship, social media, fraternity. You know, you were navigating a whole lot of stuff, and no one saw a problem with you because you had just become this expert at being a chameleon.
Right, and there's 2 things I want to touch on from what you said, Dante. But first, I want to touch on what Dana said. You said the angry. They want you to be the angry black man, right?
Yeah.
It's funny you said that because I was with my therapist like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm trying to explain to her, like, hey, like, because she recommending me for a med board for PTSD. And I was trying to explain to her the severity of my issues, and it's kind of like she didn't believe me. And when your therapist that you poured out everything to gives you some good advice and tells you, because she told me, she said, hey, what your issue is, she told me this way earlier this year. She said, what your issue is, you are mourning the loss of your former self. You're not that max your PT score NCO anymore because you have, you know, injuries. You're not, you know, as sharp as you are anymore because you have a traumatic brain injury. Like, but you're still trying to act like you're still that guy. So you have to come to grips with the fact that you're no longer that guy. And I said, okay. So I finally came to grips with it. Now I go back and see her again, and here she is saying, oh, well, no, you're good. I'm like, what you mean? Hold on. You told me this. Oh, no, that's not what I meant. Come on now. So you want me to come in here and be the angry black man, flip the desk over, and then you'll say, okay, you're crazy.
No, he crazy.
I'm crazy.
Right. But she's like, no, you're so articulate. You're just great. You're just a good person. I said, yes, because I'm a well-mannered man. I'm an exceptional gentleman. And and I'm like, my mama raised me right. I'm not gonna come in here. I'm not gonna cuss you out, lady. Like, that's not who I am. But I'm trying to sit here and like have a conversation with you and let you know what's going on. And because I'm not acting out, it's like it seems like you don't want to believe me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But for that one, and then for what you were saying about how I was comedianized, when I first met you at the convention last year.
Yep.
And Ghost was like, hey, I want y'all to do the show together. I said, no, let Donta do it. You know what I'm saying? I camouflaged it by saying, I'm Freddie Showbiz, man. I don't have no co-host. I don't have no co-host. Either I'm running or he running it, right? So that was my you had to see it, baby. It was funny. But that was my way of
we about to walk on stage together. We at the steps of the stage about to walk on. Both of us holding the microphone, and he said, no, you got it. No, I got it. It's intro music. What are you talking about, man?
Right. But see, that's what it was. Like, it was never about you. It was never about that. It was the fact that I didn't want to do it. Right. Because my anxiety was high. Like I was dealing with a lot that whole weekend. What's that? It's anhedonia. It's just like it's thing where you just like lose interest in things you like usually do. Like used to be in like the party, used to be doing all this stuff. It's like before that we had a crossing in Dallas, I believe, and I was emceeing it, and that's when I first started feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we got to the convention, I was really like, oh man, I just want to be behind the scenes, and that's really totally out of my character to just behind the scenes. So that it was more about me just wanting to be behind the scenes and not be out in the public eye. But I had to try to downplay it, like, oh no, man, I'm Freddie Showbiz.
I don't share the stage with nobody.
Right.
I got the name too, bro. I got a whole show. Let me these comments real quick. Kwame Corbett typed. He said what he is saying was something similar to what another soldier dealt with in my unit, and the way the command handled it prevented a lot of my fellow battle buddies from seeking help for PTSD and other mental health combat related issues. And then Famous Taylor II said that's something ingrained in us due to social and self-stigma. We are taught not to show weakness. He just did a report on mental health and masculinity this past semester. And then Kimberly Jenkins Irvins wants to know, are you still seeing, or how long did you keep seeing that therapist that wasn't giving you what you needed?
Oh, so yes, the therapist. So I actually got ready. I actually wrote my therapist like this. I showed my lady. I wrote her this like super long letter, basically my final words to her before I was going to get rid of her. And then I went in there and saw her.
Via letter, huh? Broke up via letter.
I wrote a long letter, and I went in there to read it to her, but then it's like her tone changed, and then it was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, before I could read the letter, it's like, I don't know, maybe she was listening to me when I read it to her. I don't know, but it seemed like she knew what I was going to come in there and say, and so she, started like, okay, yeah, I'm willing to help.
And I wonder if you could, for that whole situation, that whole season, if you could do it over when it came to how you reported, your challenges, would you do it differently? What would you have done differently? Would you have turntables over? Now knowing what they wanted from you, would you have went and just acted a fool? What would you have?
Because that 4 weeks of inpatient treatment kind of like really changed my life. It opened my eyes up to so much. I got some really good coping tools, and it really helped me out with my relationship, with my home situation. And also I got to see a bunch of people who were just like me struggling. I actually made them a trophy before I left and wrote this poem for everybody that I was in there with. Like it was wonderful. They hated to see me go, but it was like one big family, but because everybody has mental issues and everybody has their own trauma. But that let me realize that, people have their own traumas. I think that's one my Jocelynn wants to speak about. That's one thing she wants to touch on, because before I went there, I used to downplay, because she deals with mental health.
We got her. Jocelynn ready now. Here we go.
Did you see the light come on?
We saw the shift. There it go. The atmosphere changed.
But Fred, that couch looked comfortable.
Right.
That couch. How many nights did you have to sleep on
Right.
that couch, Fred? It looked like that couch is real comfortable because I see her. I could see Jocelynn saying, "Sir, downstairs."
Right.
And that
What's
was the
my
only
phone?
benefit about being long distance. I got to sleep in my own bed because
You didn't have to go through the kick out.
Right.
Just the phone hang up.
Right. And you call him back and go right to voicemail.
Yeah, you can't like slam the phone anymore. So it's like FaceTime. You just hear
Right.
it.
Disappear.
Or you just be froze.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but so it taught me like you can't downplay people's trauma, right? Your trauma is your trauma. Everybody's trauma affects them differently. And so just because if I got like 6 different issues I'm dealing with and you have one, like it doesn't matter. Your trauma affects you how it affects you. Did you want to speak on that?
Yes, sure.
Oh.
So like he said, your trauma is your trauma. It took him to go to his inpatient, to really see it for himself that we both have issues, though I may not be on as many medications as he is on or had the same level of trauma that he had. I still had my own trauma that I had to deal with, and it's just as heavy for me as it is for him to carry his. He didn't quite understand that at that time, so I am thankful for him going to seek that assistance, because now he is very much aware that, hey, it may not be at the same level, but you are still dealing with something. You know, it's not less important than mine because you don't have as much, like it is real for you. So that has helped us tremendously. And that's definitely what, something I really want to drive home for people. Your trauma is your trauma. You cannot expect someone to react the way that you want them to act when it comes to their trauma. And you can't downplay anyone else's because it's not as severe as yours. We carry it differently. We react differently. Your trauma is your trauma.
And I think that's important, so important. So, Jocelynn, did you ever feel like he was trying to overshadow what you were going through because he had PTSD and all these battle scars from the militaries, but you still had your own stuff? Yes. How did those conversations go when you were like, yo, I got stuff I'm dealing with too?
So, are we?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. So, it was, again, when the conversation really came up, right after COVID, well, we were right in the middle of COVID when we had our youngest, Cameron. And he was only able to be here for like her first 3 weeks, and then he was gone. Straight from the hospital, we entered into quarantine. Everything was hot, everything was locked down. So you're talking about he's leaving. I'm here. I have a newborn. I have a 4-year-old. It's just me in the house. All I see and hear is Disney. There's no other adult conversation. I'm on high alert because I have severe anxiety. And it's just like, okay, I have no break. I have no help. Like, it is hard for me. And it got to the point where I could no longer support our relationship. I had to tell him, like, I need a mental break. It has nothing to do with you. At the time, he couldn't really understand it, but I was like, it has nothing to do with you. I love you, but if we're going to make this relationship work and continue with it, I have to step back. And it's not stepping back from the relationship, but I need to step back from communication, because at that time, I wasn't healthy enough mentally to be happy for myself and then try to be happy for you. Knowing you have other things going on, I didn't have the energy to make you smile, make you laugh as your significant other. When I woke up in the morning, the only thing I had energy for was to take care of my kids. That was it. I didn't have the energy to think about, okay, how can I entertain my fiance? How can I show him that I love him? I did not have the energy. So I told him, hey, I need some time. Not time away from you, but time to get me better, because I'm getting angry. I'm upset. I'm getting depressed, and it's coming out. Like, I realized it was coming out on my mom, on my sister, on him. It got to the point where I wasn't responsive in our conversations. I would literally just sit here and have the phone, the camera facing my daughter the whole time so he can just see her, and I wasn't talking. It's like I had nothing to say. I did not want to talk. And it wasn't that he did anything wrong. again, that being away from others, coming from having a baby straight into quarantine and only being around my kids, no adult conversation, it was hard. It drained me to the core. Again, at that time, he just didn't quite understand, because he's like, hey, if we're together, there's not a time that I don't want to be away from you. I always want to be with you. And I told him, I feel that way. But even though I feel that way, there's something else going on, that I cannot fulfill my responsibilities as your significant other if I'm not 100%.
That's love.
That's
I
love.
mean, you loved him enough to be that honest
Yeah.
and that transparent, and I know some people would just suffer through. They would suffer
Yeah.
through and say, well, let me just go ahead and, put myself last.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that it was easy, because it wasn't something that I did immediately. It wasn't until I saw, the repercussions of my actions, that it started to get bigger and bigger, especially between us. I felt the distance. I felt him trying and trying, and the more he tried, the more I backed away. And so it got to the point where it's like, you know what? I love him. And I know that this is only an obstacle. It's just the hump, just the mountain that we have to get over. But I have to take care of me in order to take care of us. So
now, us as men, Fred, this question is for Fred. Us as men, you guys being separated, and she's telling you this, and you like, what the hell did I do? And you can't do nothing about it because just the distance, you're on base or what have you. How did that make you feel? I mean, did that add more to your?
This is my time to shine, baby. I'm back in my
Did that add more to your drink? Did that add more to your drinking? Did that add more to your situation?
It was like, okay, if I can't, you know how it's like, not that attention is gone. It's like you're focusing on it. It's like I really didn't understand it. And
right.
I was still dealing with everything I was going through, and I was still drinking heavy. And then this happened like exactly the time that my daughters moved out. So now it's like I don't have any contact with her. She needs a break. So now I'm not talking to her. I'm not seeing my daughter. My other two daughters that live with me moved out. So now that like all that came to me at like one time, and I had stopped taking the medicine. And so right when that happened, I stopped taking the medicine, started drinking. So like everything hit me at like one time.
Excuse me. Let me clarify one thing though, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Come on, yes.
Time that I needed my space, not once did I say, hey, you cannot contact me to talk to your daughter. Okay. During that time, I understood that I was doing it for me, but she still needed that relationship with her dad. And I allowed that, hey, babe, you just want to call and talk to her. Or he even met me halfway and was like, babe, I know you don't want to talk, so if you can just send me pictures. Of course, I make sure I send him pictures. And if he did call just to see her, I'm all for that. Of course, I would be like, I don't want to talk, but I'll make sure you can, here you go, you can see her. But I just want to clarify that.
I think what helped him make it, and stop me if I'm wrong, I think what helped Fred make it and for him to be here with us today is just hearing your voice. Even though you said, and y'all probably haven't even thought about that, but him just hearing your voice, I think it helped him make it through.
And that goes both ways, because like I said, I have severe anxiety. I have childhood trauma, and then I have some from the military. But my anxiety is through the roof, and the things I go through and do, like, he is my rock. And even when we're not together, he knows when I'm triggered in any way. And he's like, babe, X, Y, Z, babe, let's talk about it, or what's going on. Hey, babe, let's not talk about me. Hey, what's going on? Did you take your medicine? Like, us being distant, it was hard, but it actually brought us together.
Right.
It forced us to really get to know each other without, the physical, really seeing our faults, because when things started happening on the outside, we run to each other, so it was more dialogue for us to have versus just sitting in each other's face every day and the conversation just starts to die out. Like, we're having real dialogue between each other. So he's telling me everything that's going on with him, and I'm doing the same. So it's like, I now understand what he told me, just recently when, I kind of stepped away for a couple of days. How that kind of, it didn't trigger him, but it did affect him. And I understand that now. with that being said, with understanding, I want people to know that being in a relationship with someone who has mental issues, it comes with real responsibility. Okay, not just for the individual with mental health to receive help, but for the significant other to understand, be willing to understand that, hey, you're going through something. I'm going to be patient while you go through it. You know, you have to accept that responsibility. If you're going to stay there in that relationship, knowing up front that they have challenges, you owe it to them and yourself to either make the decision to stay, be patient, be their rock, their support, or say, hey, it's nothing against you personally. I'm not strong enough to be in a relationship where there are those challenges.
Right.
Okay, and break those ties, because that's part of the damage. You say, yeah, I can deal with that. That's fine. And then you're in a relationship knowing you really can't. And then it blows up, it goes south. You know, when this could have been dealt with in a more mature way, saying, you know, I respect you. Thank you for telling me. But I don't think I'm in a mental space where I can help you on your journey. You know, so I want people to understand that you have a responsibility to yourself and to your significant other if you're going to stay in that fight with them, or you need to leave and find someone else that's on your level.
And Justin, I have a question. Which how long, first of all, can we ask how long y'all been together?
Oh yes. Go ahead. Go ahead, tell me.
Oh,
He don't know. He was confused as hell when you just asked.
He
He was like,
How long
"What?"
y'all been together, showbiz?
yeah, we've been together since July of last year.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so which
July of last
which
year.
Frederick did you meet?
Oh,
Because throughout the
I
course
met
of this
the
conversation, we've heard about a lot of Fredericks.
Right.
Which you meet,
yes.
and then how long were y'all together before you realized the Frederick that I met and fell in love with, this Frederick got some stuff going on.
Okay, so I met the first Frederick that I met was the professional Frederick. We're both logisticians. We call ourselves Logistics and Love.
Love and Logistics.
Love and Logistics, yeah, that's us. We met like that. So professionally, then of course, you know, the jokes have to come in. That's just who he
She
is.
slid in my DM talking about she want me to help her with her NCO.
Right, let's cut to the chase.
Listen, I really didn't help, but once he answered with that, anything for you, sweetheart, it was like, okay,
Oh God, got her.
That the first song didn't say Roddy song. It was like anything for you, sweetheart. So we started from there. But I can honestly say he and I have had a friendship since about 2014, 15-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, we've kept in contact over the years. So it was quite easy once we actually came together. But he was so open with me from day one about his issues, about the several people he had in his head. And I was like, that's cool, because they can chill with the several people I have in my head. So
y'all never alone.
Right. House is never empty.
And you know, and I was like, yeah, I actually named them. But
Oh, shit.
so it was.
But I mean, did you? I guess I'm trying to ask. Did you ever? Well, for both of y'all, since both of y'all are, you know, got similar situations, when did you guys notice that there was something different about the person that you're with, and you was like, well, wow, I see something in her that mirrors what I'm going through. You know, when did you see that? Was there a particular event that happened where you kind of stepped back and said, there's that other person, that's
Right.
the other Frederick, or that's the other Jocelynn I've been waiting to meet, you know?
Oh, I'll let her take that.
Answer your part. Go ahead.
No, my part comes after your part.
Okay. Well, I saw it. Went to go visit him, and he was just, I don't have the word to describe who he was, but I was just like, you know what, I'm about ready to get up and go. I think I did, didn't I? Did. I got up and left.
All of y'all, huh?
I packed my bags and I left. He kind of just, it's real. It's real. When he says that sometimes the other side of him is stronger and can take over, it is real. It is. And that was the first time that I saw it. And I kind of questioned, like, hey, can I do this? Like, that was just something I didn't want to be around. It scared me. Like, it's where did this come from?
Right.
How often does it come? But the fact that he was open initially was like, okay, this isn't everyday. Something is going on. Something triggered him. So eventually we had our conversation about it. We realized, what was going on. Okay.
Well, let me tell you the conversation. So when I came down here for the birth of the child, she was real, like very dismissive, very distant, treated me like I was just a sperm donor. I promise. It wasn't like, hey, we're coming out here to have this baby. I love you, Debbie. She was just like, I'm talking about even when we got to the hospital, she was like, oh yeah, he'll do that. Like I was the butler. Like I was like, what? I'm like, what's going on? So she went to go have the baby. They induced her. And like, nah, she ain't ready to come yet. See, we come back in a week. So I guess the baby didn't want to come because we were in turmoil, right? So we come back home and I said, hey, what's going on? Like, where's the animosity? What did I do? And like, I want to wait till the baby's born to have this conversation. I said, no, we need to have it now because then I'm gonna be sitting around waiting. This. And so for 30 minutes, she said, you ready? I said, yeah. And for the first time in my life, at the time I was just before I was 40, so I was 39 years old at the time. For the first time in my life, I sat there and I actually listened to understand. I listened to feel what she was feeling. I listened to hold on. I'm getting a little emotional.
Me too.
But I listened to
we love that. It helps our ratings.
Right. Let's go.
I listened to try to understand. I didn't listen to like point out where I was right or she was wrong. I like listened to her pour her feelings out. And she did for like 30 minutes. And it was like, I said about 5 or 6 instances in there where I could have been argumentative, where I could have said, oh no, but what about this? But I didn't. I just let her talk. She got everything off of her chest. And then she like left out for a couple of hours. And then she came back. And I had time to sit there and talk, process it. And I like wrote down responses, because some things were just misunderstandings, but I didn't want to just jump in. But it opened my eyes so much and showed me all of my flaws in the relationship as a significant other, the selfishness, and a lot of it was selfishness that I didn't even realize that I was doing, and it opened my eyes so much that I seen that I could like look in my past relationships before her and see where it was a pattern. I was doing the same things in those, which led to the failure. But none of those past relationships, nobody like gave me 30 minutes of, hey, this is what you're doing. You see what I'm saying? So she was the one that said, this is it. And I was like,
I did. I said, this is it.
I love you. Thank you.
And you sitting there with a baby ready to come out in 7 days. Right. And you said, hey, we got to figure this out because, we joined together, but we ain't got to be together.
Yeah, but it was like, I want this. I want this. So I don't want another failure. I don't want another failed relationship. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like with a great woman. And I was like, I have to fight this time. You know what I'm saying? It's time for me to like man up or fight for this relationship.
So let me ask this because we're at overtime. Surprise, Kwame's letting us go. Thanks, Kwame. Appreciate it. I want you two to give some advice. So Freddie, what would you tell brothers that's out there dealing with and you don't say mental health, you say something else. Is it behavioral?
Yeah, he said behavioral
health, mental health.
Yeah,
invisible wounds.
There you go. If we got men out there that have invisible wounds and they're trying to navigate relationships, and all that kind of stuff, what do they need to change or shift or do to make sure they're having a healthy relationship? And then Jocelynn, what do women need to know who are dealing with men who have invisible wounds, and you can see these invisible wounds, but the man is not willing to accept it, embrace it, and seek help for it? What advice would you give a woman? So Freddie, you can go first.
Right.
Okay, I would say be vulnerable. You have to open yourself up. You have to be honest. You have to speak about it. You have to tell your significant other exactly what you're going through, exactly how you feel, the good, the bad, the ugly, regardless of how they may take it. Some may reject it. Some may, oh, you being a punk, or you being a big old baby. Oh, you emotional, you sensitive. You have to be open to receive whatever criticism, but you have to be honest and upfront about what you're going through, because if you try to hide it, it's gonna end in catastrophe.
Is there a reason you didn't do that in your past relationships? Why Jocelynn?
I opened up some of my past relationships, but Jocelynn showed me a lot about myself that I didn't even see. It was a lot that I was doing. She made me a whole more self-aware of my flaws that I wasn't seeing in past relationships.
And that could be because you really loved her, and this is what you wanted. The
I
other
think
thing,
it's God's plan, brother.
yeah.
Won't he do it? Jocelynn, it's your turn. Give us your closing. Give it to us. What you gonna tell your sisters?
Right.
He just took me back with that. I just got in my feels. That was beautiful.
Uh-oh.
All the women out there, I just want to say what works for me with him, especially since I know, I just love on him. I just love on him. Even when there's times where he may not want to talk about it. When you get to know your significant other, when there are triggers, when they're not having a great day, I'd be like, oh, baby, you so this and that, or oh, this, just let me look at you. Your eyes are this, so baby, let me just hold you, or just, we're both silly, okay? Everyone's like, how do you deal with him? No, you need to ask him, how does he deal with me? Okay. But I just love on him constantly, because it's like, everyone's like, you have to be their peace. You have to be there for all these means. Be their peace. That's real. That is real. He is mine and I am his. This is home. This is where we can just take off our skin and be who we are. No facade about what's going on. We can be real. If you want to talk about it, I'm here. If not, hey, go get on your game station. Go play. And when you're ready, I'm right here. I don't take offense to what I really, really love. Ladies, oh my gosh, please do not take offense when they say, I'm going through something, I need some time, or I'm gonna go sleep downstairs because I'm feeling the type of way. I respect that so much, versus me have to wonder what's going on. Why is he doing this? And he does a great job of letting me know, babe, I don't feel this way today, or babe, I may have missed my medication, so if I'm off, or I'm gonna try this, my attitude may not be. And I'm like, okay, boo, I got it, because now I'm aware and I can help him through it, and either give him his space. And, if he wants space, it's too easy for me to, before COVID, go get my nails done or something like that. But I can take care of me. That's your opportunity to take care of yourself when they ask for that space, But at the end of the day,
Jocelynn, say that again. Because I only said it because a lot of people in relationships, if they other half come and say, yo, I just need some time for me. What you mean need time for you? What you want to go do that I can't be a part of? Oh, so you want to go out there and just run wild, huh? Oh, okay. I see you. I see what's about to happen. I know what's up with all that. Guess what? I'm going to grab my purse and my jacket. We all finna go. Ain't nobody being alone.
Yeah.
So Jocelynn, talk about that. How important? Because you sound super duper secure.
Oh, I very much am.
Yeah, you sound so secure.
We both had our past relationships that weren't well. I'm big on prayer. He'll say, I'm the praying one. I pray over us all. And I believe that this relationship is the right relationship. This is the relationship that I'm supposed to be in. And so with that thought, no matter what we go through, especially if we are upset with one another, like we just had a disagreement about 2 weeks ago, regardless that we didn't want to talk to each other, I took everything within myself and said, I love this man. I want to be with him. I'm angry. I don't want to talk to him, but I'm going to text him and let him know, hey, I love you. Don't talk to me. I don't like you right now, but I love you. That is my way of saying I need time for myself to get back together, to be who you love. I still love you. I still want this, but I need time. So again, going back to that space, if he needs space, go take care of you. Okay. Cause as much as I love to be under him, sometimes I need to be by myself. I need to do for me, and vice versa. If she wants some space, hey, go meet up with your friends, whatever case may be. But I think space and distance is healthy, because I get to miss him. I don't like when he leaves, goes back to Louisiana. I hate that. But when he's out the house running errands, whatever, I miss him. We call each other FaceTime. Hey, babe, what you doing? You just left the house, but still want to see. You know, I miss him. But that space is needed. And again, don't forget that you are an individual outside of your relationship. That's why that person was drawn to you. It's who you are. You can't let yourself be forgotten, because then a relationship doesn't work, because you're not that person who they were attracted to. So remain true to who you are. But at the end of the day, you just got to love on them, because that
Freddie,
love return is beautiful.
Bruh, if you mess this up, we all coming for you. All of us. Everybody watching, male, female, old, young. If you mess up this, if Jocelynn posts one post that says it's over, I'm done. It's a wrap. Not only does she pray for you, but she tolerates you.
Right.
All of you.
All of them.
Right, all of y'all. You know,
It's
that's
all
a
of it.
beautiful thing. And I think seeing this right here is so inspiring for a lot of our viewers, honestly, because we don't get to see Black love. You know, a lot of stuff that we see now is so heavy on the toxic side of things. You know, Ayanla has a winning show because she shows the toxic side of Black relationships, Black family, Black marriage, Black whatever, you know, and we don't get to see the other side. Yes, we do have some toxicity in the Black community. Period. It is there.
Yep.
But we also have some phenomenal love examples in the Black community. And you two just gave us a beautiful example of Black love.
Yes.
I mean, y'all are sitting there, you know, just looking beautiful. Now, once these cameras go off, we don't know how y'all sit, how y'all act, how y'all behave.
Right.
You know, we don't know. Yeah, you know, but from how you have talked about the importance of communication, the importance of loving on your mate, the importance of giving them space, the importance of being yourself in the midst of a relationship. Don't lose you. People need to hear that, because I guarantee it's somebody that's watching right now looking at their other half like, you sure ain't pretty.
Or looking at them like they just watched Snapped or something.
Yeah, and he looking like, I need me a Jocelynn, and you just sitting here.
Right,
You know,
right.
eating your ham sandwich, you know. So I just think, I mean, yo, God's blessings upon the both of you.
Yes, and
You
the
have
children.
seriously earned it, and it shows that you have done the trial by fire part, because you're glowing. You're glowing. You're shining bright like a diamond. You know, a diamond only shines after it gets beat. You know, beat and go through the forging and all that. So, you know, y'all are. Jocelynn, come back, honey, come back. You're still on the show. You're still alive, sweetie. Come on back, Jocelynn. Come on back.
Right. This is a family-friendly show.
Right. Come on, Jocelynn. He called me a diamond, Pookie.
But the good thing about it is that you guys are going through this and learning each other before you get married. That's the best thing about it.
Yes.
Yep, that's the great thing about it. So when you have to wake up every day and see him and see her and things like that, and these situations come up within your marriage, you already know how to deal with it because you've dealt with it before, and it's just gonna be it's just gonna let it just roll smooth. And one thing I can tell you, don't ever get advice from when y'all get married. Don't get advice from somebody that ain't married. No matter how long they've been dating, whoever they dating, don't get no marriage advice from them. Because it's like, y'all been dating 17 years. Why y'all ain't married? We common law married. Get out of here.
I have one more thing to add. He goes to behavioral health, but I also go to behavioral health. I've been going for many years just for myself. So don't think that it's just a one person thing. Even if I didn't have the mental issues, I think when you're in a relationship with somebody who does, you should still seek help outside so you can learn ways to help them, assist them, and how to be mentally strong for yourself. Okay. I really hope that in our community we can grow away from the stigma that therapy is bad.
Come on, preach.
I love therapy because there's so many things on my mind and heart that I can't really interpret in words to my significant other, but I can say it because it needs to come out, you know. And it's just really, it makes me feel good just to be able to speak on it, whether they understand it or not. But therapy is not just for those who have issues, you know, it's there for support as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And I think it's beautiful that you both understand the importance of therapy. Because if only you were going and Freddie wasn't an advocate for it, he might be like, so what's wrong with you? Why you keep going to this therapist?
Right.
You know, and to have that knowledge and awareness that therapy does not mean I'm crazy. It just means I need someone to talk to get some of this stuff off of me, because some things may be above your pay grade. I love you dearly, but I may share some stuff with you and you can't help me at all through it. All you going to say is, oh, wow.
Right.
Oh, wow. You know, yeah, let's have a drink. I don't want to drink.
Right.
All right. Hey, y'all have been a joy and a blessing to this show on tonight. I mean, and obviously, so if our producer allowed us to go over by 10 minutes,
Right.
because Kwame gives us a hard stop at 9 o'clock. You two have really blessed the show tonight. We appreciate y'all for your transparency, for just being an example of Black love. I mean, Freddie, you're an exceptional gentleman through and through, my bruh. You know, and this was just so healthy. If you guys want to come back, we would love to have you back.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, Jocelynn didn't say yeah.
Yeah, she didn't say yeah.
I let the head of the household speak, but I'm in agreement.
You better know your place. I'm just kidding.
Like you said, you don't know how we are after the cameras go.
Right, this camera.
Right.
That's my place, huh? No, I would love to have you guys come back. I think it's important just to show these examples, and you guys gave some good advice on how to navigate through this, and it's needed. That's all I can say. It's needed. So I'm gonna hit y'all up and get y'all back on here, and we can do a part 2, because we still didn't go really deep into Freddie's story. It's a lot of stuff we did not touch. You know, you talked about pills and medications. We didn't tap into side effects. We didn't tap into that and how it impacted the relationship. You know, one day you up, one day you down. How do I deal with this? So let's make that happen, and then we're gonna go ahead and do part 2.
The inpatient treatment, because I really want to talk about the system. It's a lot I want to get into inside the system of the mental health and these pharmaceuticals and all that stuff.
We're going to make it happen. So 2021 is going to be y'all year. 2021. All right, y'all give it up for Frederick and Jocelynn.
Thank you.
Dana, close us out.
I was about to call my name. Gosh. Hey, sorry about that, Dante.
It's all good.
Hey,
it's all good. I get
y'all already know how we do it, and we're gonna do it like we do it, because we do it like we do it all the time. So we're gonna break it down just a little bit. You gotta spread love. Instead of spreading lies, you have to spread love. Instead of spreading lies. And then we could say it like Teddy B. Spread love instead of spreading lies. Thank you all so much for tuning into the show tonight. We love you all. We love you. Please, if you came into the show late tonight, go back, rewatch it on YouTube, rewatch it on Facebook. We love you guys. Remember to reach out to someone, whether you think they're doing good or not. Just a simple hi and a simple hello goes a long way. A text message, phone call, email, mail them something. Mail them something tangible that they can have and put on the refrigerator or put on the wall or put over the fireplace. They can walk past that card every day and say, hey, this person was really thinking about me, okay? And again, as I say all the time, we love y'all, and there ain't a damn thing y'all can do about it. And all I'm going to say, we can skip the whole slideshow, Kwame. All I'm going to say is tune in tomorrow night for the last show of the year. Tomorrow is going to be our finale for 2020. We're going to kick off 2021 on January 4th and have a phenomenal first of the year show. So please tune in tomorrow. We're going to recognize some folks. We're going to give some folks. We're going to give some shout outs and just do our 2020 countdown. So we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And we will see you tomorrow night right here on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Periscope, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure to follow the Donta Show on YouTube. We love you. We appreciate you. Yes, Lestar, January 4th, my birthday is going to be the first show of 2021, my 49th birthday. So we will see y'all there. All right. Take care. God bless. We love you. Peace out. 49.
49?